Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be slightly different from the usual one that I do because I would like to experiment if this is a better way of telling true crime cases. Please comment down below if you think that this is the better way to tell true crime stories. Let's dive into today's case. Hong Kong, a special administrative region of China, located to the east of Pearl River estuary on the south coast of China. The area of Hong Kong has expanded over the years, and it has continued to grow as more land has been reclaimed from the surrounding sea. Hong Kong developed initially on the basis of its excellent natural harbor. Its Chinese name means fragrant harbor, and the lucrative China trade, particularly opium dealing. It was the expansion of its territory, however, that provided labor and other resources necessary for sustained commercial growth that led to its becoming one of the world's major trade and financial centers. Unfortunately, the community remains limited in space and natural resources, and it faces persistent problems of overcrowding, trade fluctuations, and social and political unrest. Pressure of surviving, the high cost of living, and tiny living spaces, people in Hong Kong slowly became cold to each other and had no interest in each other's lives. This is how Lam Kor-wan, the serial killer in today's case, was able to carry out most of his crimes at home while living with his family. On August 17, 1982, Lam Kor-wan brought his firm to develop photographs at a Hong Kong Kodak shop. After Lam left, the shop manager made a phone call to the police after what he had seen from the photographs. This is a case known as the Rainy Night Butcher, or aka the Jar Killers, which happened in Hong Kong in the 1980s. Do you ever wonder why some of the most gruesome crimes happened in the 80s? It all began with a little Malaysian boy who was often abused by his own father. The little boy's name is Lam Kor-wan. Lam faced this daily beating from his own parents and also had to watch his mother receive the same treatment. The father once hit Lam so hard that the boy was knocked unconscious. The abuse stopped when they moved to Hong Kong, and Lam was in his teens. But he had trouble making friends at school. His electronic chess set was his closest friend. Unfortunately, Lam just couldn't make friends and ended up as a loner throughout his teenage years. As he became an adult, he worked as a night shift taxi driver. When he wasn't driving people around, Lam enjoyed taking pictures of porn magazines. Even though he still lived with his parents and shared a room with his little brother, he usually locked away his stash in a metal ammunition box. However, this was interesting for him until he just didn't find it exhilarating anymore. So he moved on to more perverted acts. He bought a Polaroid camera and started taking pictures of women under the toilet cubicle doors. Those ladies who noticed him chased him down the streets. Soon, he got tired of running away all the time. He was in search of something new until the fateful early mornings on February 3, 1982, where he found a new hobby. He picked up a passenger, Chang Feng Lan, at about 4 a.m. The woman had just ended her work at the Chinese Palace nightclub in Tsim Sha Tsui and went for some food with her sister and friends. After some time hanging out with her sister and friends, she felt tired and decided to go home. Due to being so drunk, she asked Lam to stop the car to let her puke. After puking, she asked him to send her back to Tsim Sha Tsui to her sister and friends. After a few minutes later, she changed her mind once more. This time, Lam snapped. He stopped his car, took an electrical wire, and strangled the drunk lady to death. He drove home with the dead body still in his car, dragged it into his flat, past the sleeping security guard, and then kept the body under his sofa. He waited for his family to wake up and leave for work. After his family left for work, he laid her body on his plastic-covered bedroom floor, then used an electric saw to cut her body up. He even took photos of everything. He wrapped the body parts and then threw them into the Singman River. A week later, news reports of body parts washing up on the riverbanks, but they couldn't identify the body, nor did they know who the murderer was. Back then, there were no digital cameras or printers to print out those horrific photographs, so he had to send them to the Kodak shop in Tsim Sha Tsui to get them developed. The film developer questioned Lam about the pictures, but he just said that he was a university lab technician doing his medical research. The film developer thought it was a reasonable answer, so Lam was able to have his horrific photographs developed. Lam immediately got hooked with this new hobby. He had completely planned it out for his next few murders. He bought some surgical instruments and formaldehyde, a chemical liquid commonly used in preserving dead bodies. After murdering his second victims, he had sex with the dead body and then dismembered her. It was his first time ever having intercourse, and from some news report, he performed necrophilia because the victim was still a virgin. He also did the same thing on his third victim. His fourth victim, and also his last one, was a 17-year-old Lang Wai-sam who had just attended a dinner with her classmates. She didn't want to join them for a second round, so they hailed her a taxi to ensure she got home safely. Unfortunately, she didn't. She never did get home that night. It was 9:30 p.m. when she boarded the taxi. He handcuffed her and then spoke to her until 4 a.m. when she fell asleep. He then strangled her and took the body home just like his previous victims. While photographing the student's body, one of his lights fell on Wai-sam and burned her tie. When Lam sent his film to be developed at the Kodak shop once more, the technician finally noticed something's wrong. The burn mark on the tie, and then a picture of a silver breast. The technician called the police, and two plaintiff cops waited outside the store for Lam to pick up the pictures. When Lam was apprehended by the police, Lam tried to defend himself, saying that he was merely picking up the pictures for his friend. Ironically, he was a loner, so the police followed him home. Lam's family was shocked as police went through the whole flat to find evidence. Finally, they stumbled upon the locked metal box hidden under Lam's bed. They found two plastic jars sealed tightly with masking tapes. One box contained the 17-year-old silver breast, while the other contained a vagina, pickle, and formaldehyde. These plastic jars gave Lam the moniker of the Jars Killer. Initially, the police thought that the whole Lam family was involved in these killings, because it just seemed so impossible for one lone man to do everything. The number of body parts and the amount of pornographic material made it seem unlikely that it was the work of one person. The police suspected that they had found a family of sex killers. On August 17, 1982, the whole Lam family was arrested. Lam, his father, and brother were all arrested and kept in separate cells. The next morning, handcuffed and accompanied by two guards, Lam was taken to see his brother, who lashed out at him, kicking and screaming. It took several minutes to separate them. Lam promised his brother he would tell the truth, and then confessed to the murders, revealing to the police all the grim details. After Lam's confession, the rest of the family was set free. They wanted to sell off their flat and move out because of the high-profile cases. Understandably, no one wanted to purchase the unit. Hence, the Lam family had no choice but to continue living in the crime scene for the rest of their lives. On 3rd of April 1983, he was found guilty of 4 counts of murders and sentenced to death by hanging. However, in 1993, Hong Kong abolished the death sentence, and so Lam, who is now 62, is still alive and serving a life sentence in Shek Pik prison today. An interesting fact about this case was so high profile that there were several movies filmed based on this story. Dr. Lam, which was screened in 1992, was one of the movies starring Simon Yam, where the plot closely followed the accounts of this true story. Thank you for watching today's video. If true crime cases that happen in Asia and other continents is an interest to you, I will be truly grateful if you can like and subscribe to this channel. I will see you the next time.